Before we get started, I just want to make it clear that this video will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen Solo, a Star Wars story yet and don't want this moment spoiled for you, then come back to this video later. In Solo, a Star Wars story, we see Han escaping Moloch and the Empire at the Corellia spaceport after Qi'ra had already been caught. With them closing in on Han and grabbing anyone that meets his description, things don't look good for his escape off the planet. In a move of desperation, he sees an Imperial recruitment center and decides that enlisting for the Empire would be a far better choice than face certain death by the White Worm Gang. During his registration, the Imperial officer asks Han for his personal information, including what his surname or clan name is. Han tells him that he doesn't have any people and is alone and unable to provide one. Since a surname is required by the Empire, the officer decides to give him the surname Solo, on account that he is alone. This moment specifically frustrated a lot of fans, such as myself, who just assumed that Han Solo was always his name from birth. Things only got more confusing when later on in the movie, Han reveals to Lando that he did in fact have a father, who worked building Corellian freighters, but he wasn't as close to him as he would have liked to. We don't know the background or the fate of his father other than he was a factory worker, but at least we know he existed and did spend time with his son thanks to the novel Most Wanted. And this essentially created a big plot hole, as Han originally said to the Imperial officer that he never had a family nor a last name, which now we know isn't true. However, upon further looking into this so-called big plot hole isn't so much a plot hole and rather actually makes sense. First, let's look at the facts. Surnames on Corellia are obviously a thing, with Rebel members Crix Madine, Wedge Antilles, Nauzo Natan, and Antico Red being just some examples of other Corellians of surnames. Secondly, if surnames didn't exist on Corellia, then the Empire wouldn't ask for one, nor would the officer look surprised when he hears that Han doesn't have one. And even then, you could argue that he could have worded the question for the surname differently, had it been optional and not a requirement. So thus, it's safe to say that Han did have a surname, the one of his father, but chose not to share it. And this leads to the big question. If Han did have a family and a surname, why didn't he share this information with the officer? Well, the answer is mostly common sense actually, and that is he just didn't want to get caught by using his real name. Because think about it, being a thief for the White Worm Gang, odds are likely he had a criminal record of the Empire, as well for the fact that he was on the run from the Empire itself. So using his real full name wouldn't make any sense and he'd just get caught and likely end up killed by Moloch. And this also makes sense in terms of real life history too, as during World War II, many Jews tried to avoid capture from the Nazis by using fake names that did not sound Jewish at all in an attempt to fly under the radar. Granted, this does lead us to another question, that if Solo was never his original surname, why did he decide to keep it for the rest of his life? In Legends, Solo was Han's real name, and the Solo name was actually a name hailing from a line of royalty, with Han being a descendant of Barithron E. Solo, who was the king of Corellia. However, all of that is now thrown out the window thanks to the new canon, which has degraded the Solo family name to nothing but a cheeky decision made at a whim by an Imperial officer. Then again, here's a little trivia for ya. George Lucas wanted to give Han a Polish surname during the development of the cancelled game Star Wars 1313, having him be actually called Han Salinsky, and Han only just shortening it to Solo as he thought it looked cool. Suffice to say, the writers of 1313 weren't completely on board with Lucas's idea. But now I wonder if we'll ever find out what Han's real surname was. Imagine if it was something cool like Han Swanson or Han Henderson. Actually, on second thought, you know what? I don't think I want to know what his real surname was. Do you? Or is it better that it stays a mystery? Let me know in the comments down below. But that'll do it for today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel for more Solo content just like this. This is N7 from Silo, signing off.